This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here with Arnaud Isnard at Château Masburel in the Bergerac. How are you today, sir?
Fine.
Now, please tell me a little bit about what you do down here in the Bergerac.
Oh, we try to make the best wine as possible from a beautiful terroir, just halfway from Pomerol to Bergerac. Clay soils and top hills, the beautiful Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet and Merlot for the reds. And we just try to give a little bit of our soul and time in the bottle. We just love long-term wine that we'll be able to last a long time in a cellar.
Now, you have been here for quite some time as a house, since 1740, I believe.
Yes, indeed. The chateau was built, we call it the chateau, it's a castle, it's a palace, whatever. The estate was built and was funded in 1740 by the tax collector from the King of France. But of course he did not call himself that way. He was the consul of King Louis XV. But he built it up and they planted the vineyard to make a wine and employed as many people as possible to make a farm, to be kind of a person in the neighborhood. And we never stopped making some wines since that time, actually. Never.
All throughout the war you made wine also. Wars up, yeah.
Yes, even during the German occupation. Actually, workers working for Masburel during the Second World War were all partisans, were resistant. And we were very close to dropping zones of the Royal Air Force. So Masburel was chosen by the local resistance to be a point to collect all the weapons. Fortunately, in 1943, 80 German soldiers from Waffen-SS settled down here, where the workers making some wines and loads of weapons concealed and hidden everywhere in the castle. So it was kind of play of mice and cats during the day and night between the Germans and the resistance. And the Germans could not know that actually the workers they had under their nose every day were the ones that we were chasing at night. With so many weapons from I myself had in my hands Browning guns and Sten guns and Mills grenades and like nobody could imagine.
Now, what would you say makes the wine so special from your particular house?
Here, what we try to do is to wait at the very last minute when the grapes give the best of themselves. We just don't want to do just a normal wine, a regular wine, but what the vine and the terroir will provide at its best. So we wait a long time during the period of fall, harvest only at the very last minute, which means October most of the time, if not in November. And then we put that into bottle to age, once again, a long time, after full maceration, long maceration, to get concentration. Some of our clients call it, for the red, the blood of the dragon, because it's very thick and dark. For the white, they are called the UFO, the strange boy, the big white, because they're so special as well. They are cellaring wine. They are wine that you would keep in the cellar for a few years.
We were quite surprised to taste some of the whites today. The very first of the longer aged wines was from 2001 and almost all Sauvignon Blanc and really quite fantastic. What do you think it is that gives these wines their longevity?
There will be certainly three elements, it's very symbolic, you know. Three elements. First, to harvest as late as possible. Sorry, my English is not perfect. As late as possible. So we push up, and we wait, we fight against the deer to get the best Sauvignon when they smell very good in the vine itself. Secondly, we keep them into barrel, French oak barrel, new oak barrel, that costs a fortune of course, but we get the best barrel as possible. We stir them, we mix them twice a week by hand in the barrel so that everything is mixed up, fat, round, smooth and mild. And when, after 1 year, this is done, there's no bacteria, no more sugar, no sugar. We put it into bottle, and that's the third element. We leave it to sleep here on the premises, so that it gets from teenage to adult time. And when the wine is ready, sometimes it could be surprising. It will take 5, 6, 7 or 8 years in the bottle here in the premises before we release them.
Now, we're here in Montravel, an appellation that's not all that well known around the world, but many people think of as being a kind of superior, a cru Bergerac. What is it that makes Montravel so special?
Montravel is special because it's just halfway between Pomerol and Bergerac. It's special because we're talking about hills, quite high hills, 100 meters, and clay hills that retains water for dry summers, that are beaten by the wind, that will dry up the vines, so the disease here are quite scarce. And especially the size of the vine that will be soaked up with the sun more than any part of the vineyard in the region. And especially, well, we have little kind of magic, we just don't know why, but that combination of elements, side of hills, clay, the wind, orientation, beautiful slopes, gives something to the wines especially, and the Merlot more particularly, something between, well, the novelty of the Merlot from Pomerol and the wilderness and terroir input of what Bergerac can give in the best wines. It's not a common fact, it's not a well-known fact that some beautiful wine estates like Château de Montaigne was the mayor of Bordeaux, he was making some Montravel wines. Comtesse de Ségur, great French writer, was living in Montravel when she was a child, surrounded by beautiful vineyards. So we are not so well known, but we know that deep in our heart that we make some really good work.
Now, you said that you're in a very blessed place, and you said that you don't have that many pressures from different kinds of diseases and the like. But you also mentioned earlier that to farm organically here would be a little bit of a problem.
Yes, of course, because we are not so far from the ocean, so we have a lot of the water and the rains that some Bordeaux people, especially the Médoc or the Pessac-Léognan, would not get. We get their clouds, so it comes from the ocean. With so many rains, with a clay soil, which is a sponge, global sponge, it would be very hard to maintain organic methods on a sustainable span, because it rains too much, it just rains too much. Aquitania, in Latin, means the country of waters. That was named by the Romans. And sometimes it rains more here than in southern Scotland. So we would deserve a beautiful climate like in Languedoc or Provence, in the south of France, but we don't have. So we have to do without. And unfortunately, because water is so recurrent here, the rains are so constant, it washes down the leaves with the only element that could be used with organic method. I'm talking about copper. Copper in the soil is not noxious, it's not toxical, but it really cooked up the roots. It will really cut down the roots. It will pervade in the roots and then in the vine and finally in the grapes, and will disturb, if not destroy, the fragrances, the flavonoids, those very tenuous, complex molecules that would not need copper. So if it was not rainy at all, or not so much, I would sign up for organic methods. Because it's so rainy and we have some clay soil. A terroir is always the sky you have. It's not just the earth. It's the earth and the sky. That's very symbolic. If we had not so much rain, I would sign up for it. Instead, we have sustainable methods. We use as less chemicals as we can. Only treat in a very last resort, in small doses with harmless molecules. And then we are greener than some people would think.
You said that you have a prevalence of bats, bees and butterflies, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, the tree bees. We are full. Well, I haven't taken you within the prairies and the vine that we have, but if you had some sandals, it would take 5 minutes so that you get stung by every kind of beast. It's not very romantic, but these insects are first the proof that we are quite green because they don't die. We are full of religious mentor, spiders of any kind, all the helpful fauna that we need. Secondly, they will defend the vine in the very first place. These are our friends. They will defend the vine against any attackants that would destroy, like phylloxera and etc. So we keep our insects and our, I would say, Harry Potter kind of beasts, like bats eating mosquitoes and other kind of bugs. The bees are a good indicator of the sanity and the health of a vineyard. And butterflies, very frail. If you have butterflies, then it's okay. So that's a good indicator. It's not just romantic, it's not just to take pictures. That's a good indicator.
Arnaud, thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. We really appreciate your hospitality and the chance to taste through your wonderful wines.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.